Thank you all for joining us here today. If I could please ask you to take a deep breath and hold it.
Now exhale. Hi everyone, I'm Maggie Galloway, CEO of Inscope Medical Solutions. We're a medical device company that is developing and commercializing a novel laryngoscope system that will quickly restore breathing for 50 million patients a year. We are seeking initial funding of $1.5 million to take our device from prototype to sales. Now I'm going to turn it over to my Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Mary Ann Mallory, and our Chief Technology Officer, Adam Casson, to tell you about the urgent clinical problem that our device solves.
Thanks, Maggie. A 29-year-old car accident victim was brought to our ER with life-threatening injuries requiring emergency surgery. The first step in saving his life was intubation. That is, quickly passing a breathing tube into his airway with the assistance of an oversized tongue depressor called a laryngoscope. A direct laryngoscope. Newer video laryngoscopes rely on a view from the embedded camera onto a nearby screen. Larry's intubation began with the video technique, and it immediately failed us. Instead of seeing a clear view of the vocal cords, all we saw was a pink smear caused by blood-stained saliva deep in his throat. We had to quickly switch to the direct technique. And then we wound up toggling back and forth between a suction catheter and an endotracheal tube, and a suction catheter and an endotracheal tube. Come on. And finally he was intubated, and Larry was whisked off to surgery. He did well, Larry lives. With me that day, actually, was Dr. Thomas Cunningham, our chief resident. And Thomas and I vowed we were going to solve these juggling and toggling and switching equipment problems that can and do occur not only in the emergency department, but also in ORs, in operating rooms, for planned surgeries. Problems that cause dangerous delays for patients, and also pretty expensive complications. Complications such as aspiration of fluid contents coming back into the lungs, tissue damage to the throat and the vocal cords, really serious infections that cause additional ICU days, such as pneumonia and sepsis, and yes, sometimes even brain damage and even death. We've identified that what physicians need in order to prevent these complications and get these patients intubated is one scope that is useful for both techniques. One scope that will get suction out of my right hand and get it into my left hand, so I can concentrate on intubating the patient. One scope that will actually give me on-demand suction in the mouth throughout the entire procedure. What physicians need is our innovative device, the One Scope, that will facilitate safe and more efficient intubation in any intubation setting.
Now let me introduce you to the rest of the management team. Dr. Mary Ann Mallory has over 25 years experience practicing medicine and is the co-inventor of our technology. Dr. Mallory is a professor at University of Louisville and serves on the American Board of Emergency Medicine. Our CFO, Will Coburn, brings over 5 years of experience in accounting, compliance, and regulatory environments. Our Chief Technology Officer, Adam Casson, is an engineer with experience in designing and managing research projects. And again, I'm Maggie Galloway, CEO. I'm an innovation consultant at Humana focused on developing new clinical products. The four of us are MBA students graduating from University of Louisville's Entrepreneurship MBA program this May. Additionally, Dr. Thomas Cunningham has joined our company as Vice President of Innovation and is the other co-inventor of our device. Dr. Cunningham is currently Chief Resident in the Emergency Department at University of Louisville Hospital. Together, this team has validated both the clinical need and the business requirements to bring the One Scope to market. We have conducted over 300 expert interviews in clinical, regulatory, finance, and design fields.
With over 50 million intubations occurring globally each year, there's a $1.1 billion market opportunity for Inscope Medical. And with the market growing at a 5% annual rate, our opportunity will grow as well. Additionally, there's a shift occurring in the market, with younger, more tech-savvy clinicians adopting the video-assisted approach in lieu of the traditional direct approach. With a 16% CAGR, the video-assisted method is expected to overtake the traditional method by 2025, with industry experts today already calling for it to be the new standard of care. There's also movement within the medical device market towards fully disposable devices due to cost and sanitation reasons. The fact that our devices are 100% completely disposable and seamlessly transition from direct to video and back are huge competitive advantages for Inscope Medical.
As we demonstrated earlier, one of the biggest problems with the current intubation process is the need for multiple tools and more than 2 hands. So we have created the Inscope, the first all-in-one intubation solution for the left hand. With our disruptive and patent-pending Inscope system, physicians will be able to use both direct and video intubation methods, easily control suction in the mouth, and significantly increase their first pass intubation rate. And finally, they'll only need 2 hands to do it. Our first Inscope MVP simply combined suction with the laryngoscope. Since then, we've added 2 independent suction channels, a suction control mechanism, and an LED light to end up with the fully functional 3D printed prototype that you see on the right of the screen. In our last round of feasibility testing at the University of Louisville Cadaver Lab, this prototype reduced the time to clear fluid obstructions by 56%, and the number of attempts before successful intubation by 38%. Most importantly, though, this prototype reduced the time to successful intubation, the industry standard metric, by 62%, or 30 seconds. So now, if you'll exhale deeply and hold it. And inhale. That was just 5 seconds. Now imagine a full 30 seconds, but instead of watching me talk, you're unable to breathe on your own, and you need a physician to intubate you. In that context, a 30-second improvement could feel like a lifetime. So our next step is to follow up this initial research with validity tests at the University of Louisville, including human trials this summer. The second component of our elegant solution is the Inscope View and its companion Inscope app. Either before the intubation or in the middle of the procedure, when video suddenly becomes necessary, the physician will simply insert the Inscope View into the Inscope's handle and be able to wirelessly view real-time video of their intubation on a dedicated tablet or smartphone. And with our Inscope app installed on this dedicated tablet or smartphone, patients in every setting will finally have access to the life-saving benefits of affordable video laryngoscopes.
Because Dr. Mallory is faculty at University of Louisville, the university owns the initial IP on our suction laryngoscope. The university commissioned a third-party study confirming both the patentability and marketability of our device. We have negotiated an exclusive option to license the technology with U of L, giving us the university's full commercialization support. In January, we filed our PCT utility patent application on the Inscope. Our claims include a novel method of intubation for a multi-use laryngoscope with integrated controllable suction. While we intend to focus our full attention on the successful launch of the Inscope, we have identified several other applications for the Inscope technology that both solve significant physician pain points and have large market opportunities. As the R&D of the Inscope winds down, our engineering team can turn their attention towards the development of these related devices. No other laryngoscope on the market has integrated suction. And in fact, 2 of our competitors have expressed their frustration with the current suction solutions in their own marketing materials. And at our price point, we keep our device out of the hospital capital purchasing process by eliminating the need for a video platform that currently costs up to $25,000.
Physicians are already asking for our first product, the Inscope, with integrated and controllable suction, and we are working hard to quickly get our product to market. We've been using Occam Design, an ISO 13485 certified contract manufacturer that specializes in working with medical device startups to quickly finalize our R&D and ensure a smooth pathway for manufacturing. Our first product, the Inscope, will ship early next spring. This fall, we will begin full R&D on our second product, the Inscope View and its companion app, when we hire our first engineers. The Inscope View will ship in early 2017, at which point video will be used in about 40% of intubations in developed countries.
An important milestone for Inscope before we can begin manufacturing is clearance to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. All laryngoscopes are Class 1 devices. However, after talking with our regulatory consultant, we have decided to file a 510(k) application on the Inscope to cover additional marketing claims associated with the integrated section. We have a regulatory consultant lined up, and we plan to achieve clearance by this fall. Our OneScope system provides an accessible, affordable, all-in-one solution addressing the urgent needs of all three customer segments: anesthesiologists, emergency physicians, and paramedics. We plan to initially target the emergency medicine market where there's both strong need and significant market opportunity. In the first year of sales, we will concentrate direct sales efforts of the OneScope on the hospital systems in our region where we have built strong relationships with purchasing decision makers and influential physicians, many of whom have already expressed interest in purchasing the OneScope once it becomes available. When the OneScope View insert is ready for market in early 2017, we will bring on a distributor to help increase our scale. We'll initially target the major trauma centers where we have relationships with physicians and then expand more broadly. In order to really achieve scaled sales in hospitals, we're going to need to become an approved product through a healthcare group purchasing organization. We plan to accelerate this process by negotiating with GPOs starting this summer, as well as driving bottom-up demand from targeted hospitals and physicians. Starting this fall, we'll attend the major industry trade shows to expose our product to industry leaders, attract the right kind of distributors, and get to know potential partners or acquirers. We know that our device will have value in international markets, and by attending these trade shows, we'll start to develop the international distribution relationships we'll need to access foreign markets. In addition to trade shows, we'll take a multi-dimensional approach to marketing to expose our product to physicians worldwide.
Intubation is considered a bundled procedure with regards to hospital reimbursement, meaning that the hospitals are reimbursed a set fee regardless of how much time or equipment are required to successfully intubate a patient. And in fact, in the operating room, intubation is further bundled into the ventilator management code. What hospitals are looking for are cheaper, more efficient equipment because ultimately these lead to higher margins. And safer, faster processes ultimately decrease clinical risks and litigation expenses. The bundled nature of this procedure and our customer discovery have greatly informed our pricing decisions. Based upon these, we have settled at a price point of $10 per OneScope. Current competitors' disposables are priced at an average of $8 per unit. But given our value proposition of integrated suction, we will be able to command a premium. And even at our premium price of $10 per unit, we are still far less expensive than going with a current traditional laryngoscope that must be sterilized after each use. Hospitals are also actively seeking an affordable video-assisted laryngoscopy option. As stated previously, current video system units can cost upwards of $25,000 per unit, and this does not include the per unit cost of each disposable required during use. We know that at our disruptive price point of $35 per OneScope View, we will make the video-assisted approach affordably accessible in any hospital or ambulance setting. Based upon the strategy outlined thus far, we forecast having sales revenue of $62 million, an EBITDA of $19.9 million, a profit of $11 million, and a profit margin of 18% by year 5 of operations. So how are we going to get there? To date, the management team you see before you has contributed $44,000, and we will contribute a total of $100,000 by the summer to fund prototyping, IP, IRB, and additional research. We will then seek a seed round of $1.5 million this August in exchange for 33% equity to be used for initial sales, marketing, and manufacturing efforts. We will then seek a Series A round of $2.5 million in September of 2016 in exchange for 29% equity to be used for sales expansion and the launch of the OneScope View. We anticipate exit via acquisition by a large medical device company such as Karl Storz, Verathon, or Ambu during year 5 of operations. And we have already had initial discussions with Covidien. Using an EBITDA multiple of 5, we expect to be valued at approximately $100 million at exit. This will yield returns of 22.1x cash on cash and an 85.8% IRR for our seed investors. For our Series A investors, this will yield returns of 11.7x cash on cash and an 85% IRR.
We have assembled a team of advisors and collaborators to complement the skills of this management team. With their help, the OneScope will not only be developed, but be protected, sold, and adopted as the laryngoscope of choice. So now imagine that same car accident victim coming into the ER, but this time Dr. Mallory is equipped with a OneScope. With one swift motion, she has intubated him. No need for extra hands or duplicative equipment. He's ready for the ER team to move on to his other pressing problems. With your investment, we will bring the OneScope to market and improve patient safety, decrease physician stress, and provide key financial benefits to hospitals. So we hope you'll join our team and help us help physicians save lives. Thank you.